Welcome back inside the Nittany Lion Sports Report. It's live here on Bob Long Sports, Bob Long, Tyler Gale House. Now it's time to go to the Blitz, where we go to the whiteboard and break down one key aspect of Penn State football. And today, as we preview the Michigan game, it's about Michigan and their strength, and that is the tailback position. Zach Charbonnet, a true freshman running back who has come in and taken a big load of carries. Hassan Haskins is a secondary back that I think we're going to see a lot of rushes from as well. But Charbonnet has had as many as 33 carries in one game. That was in the opener against Army, and they needed every one of them as he ran for 100 yards, and they took down the Black Knights in overtime, 24-21. Now, what Charbonnet is able to do well, he has this blend of being able to get in between the tackles, but also being able to bounce it to the outside. He's that Michigan back, though, and Michigan is one of those teams that is very, very talented from an offensive line perspective. This year is no different. Up front, they have big boys that have been decimating for defenses that have been, let's call them, of a slightly lower tier than Penn State or what they saw against Iowa a few weeks back. Certainly, Wisconsin was able to keep Michigan's offense in check as well. So now my key here for Penn State is we talk about a 6-0 football team. We talk about Tony, who's able to get to the quarterback, Gross-Matos, who can slide to the inside or can get around a right tackle to the outside. We talk about Robert Windsor, who had his best game as a Nittany Lion. Fred Hansard, who can be in there. Antonio Shelton, the starter. P.J. Mustipher provides depth. This defense has been unbelievable against the run. Micah Parsons and Jan Johnson here can also add that run blocking ability. So this front seven, as strong as Penn State has seen in some time. Michigan, they ran the ball 8 times to start the game against Illinois and 200 yards in the first half. So the unstoppable force meets the immovable object. Who's going to win? And I think that's going to be a key and the key for Penn State defensively to keep Michigan off the board offensively. Nobody's saying that this Michigan offense is an offense that can light it up down the field. Shea Patterson has really struggled. Yes, the weapons are out there, but I think Penn State, from an ability to get pressure, and certainly what we've seen from the John Reeds of the world, the Tariq Castro Fields of the world, and we've seen some great play from Garrett Taylor at free, and then both Brisker and Lamont Wade at strong. I think they're going to be able to keep them in check. But the pressure consistently will be Zach Charbonnet, I think, getting the majority of the carries, and Haskins being that second option to try to bounce it to the outside, that 1-2 punch that Michigan's going to count on. And if you can start to chip some of these safeties and cornerbacks and keep these linebackers in the middle of the box, that's going to create room in the middle of the field for a guy in Shea Patterson who has really struggled, but you give him weapons and you give him some open field. Even something like Shea Patterson struggling can be nixed by some openings in the defense, and that's what you saw in the second half of that Illinois game, specifically the fourth quarter. So that's my key here. Penn State, one of the best rushing defenses in the country. Okay, now is the time to show it. You have a team in Michigan that is going to be committed to running the ball in between this A-gap, to pulling this guard from the left side and running off tackle. This is an athletic offensive line. Don't get it wrong here. This Michigan offensive line, though the team is struggling, is a strength, will continue to be a strength. We saw last year at the Big House, Penn State had immense problems stopping the run, among other things. And so this is my key here for this game. Yes, a new year. Yes, some new personnel. Yes, the roles have been flipped. It's Penn State hosting the game. It's Penn State number 6 in the country. It's Michigan reeling with a tough loss. Okay, all that's changed. What's going to happen here right down the line of scrimmage? That's obviously the key to this game for me, and a Michigan team that's not afraid to run it in any down, in any situation. I mentioned 8 times to start the football game. They'll do it till it doesn't work anymore. And it's the Penn State front 7 that has to make it not work. That's the Blitz here for today. We'll take a break, come back on the other side. Christian Iannarone is our guest, and our guest picker segment this evening here on the Nittany Lion Sports Report.